Hello everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to another video in the series Career Paths. Today I have a medical photonist in the house and it will be explaining to us what medical photonics is and what the course entails and the opportunities involved. So stay tuned and enjoy the video.
Hello viewers, my name is Michael Adewoye. So I studied medical photonics at the master's level, and I'm here today on this channel to talk to you about medical photonics, the course, what it entails, and career paths that you could possibly pursue if you decide to study medical photonics.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. But first, can you give a background into what you studied in the bachelor's level before you decided to pursue a degree in medical photonics?
Okay, so from Nigeria, I studied medical laboratory sciences. So some will call it biomedical science, but we call it in Nigeria medical laboratory sciences.
Are you saying as a medical lab scientist, it is possible to study medical photonics in the master's level? And what other courses are eligible to do this course?
Okay, so one, you have to understand that medical photonics, where I studied it in my university, is a multidisciplinary course. So if you studied a medical related course, not just medical laboratory science, maybe medicine. Some of my classmates are doctors. Maybe engineering. Some of my classmates are biomedical engineers. Maybe physics. Some of my classmates were physicists, or maybe even chemistry or biochemistry. You could study medical photonics because basically the course is multidisciplinary.
Okay, thank you. Then can you give us a deep insight into what the course is all about? Because I came to Germany and heard medical photonics for the first time. I've not heard it before.
Yeah, photonics itself is relatively new course or new line of study, and even newer is medical photonics. But the truth is, medical photonics is not really like a standalone course. It's just like application of photonics technology for medical purposes. So that's in the most basic level what medical photonics is about. Application of photonics technology for medical use. That's it.
So what are the opportunities embedded in this course and in this field?
Okay, so one, you have to understand what photonics is. Photonics is optics. So it's more or less light. In what way can you apply light? Many people don't know, but when you talk of microscope, when you talk of spectrometers or spectroscopy, these are some of the aspects where photonics is applied. So, and that is why you see people from different fields could come into medical photonics. There will be something for you to do. And because again, photonics on the one hand is not just about optics or light alone. There are other aspects to it like programming, engineering. So it doesn't matter what you studied before, as long as you're around this field of medicine, engineering, mathematics, and physics, you can study medical photonics. So when you study medical photonics in my school, they really teach you the science behind photonics, not engineering skills. So like the principles, how some of these things works, how you can do some of these things. So for example, in microscopy, many people have seen a microscope before, but the basic compound microscope, biological microscope. So they teach you some of these stuffs about light and how a basic microscope works. But much more than that, then you go deeper into what microscopes could do and how you can deploy microscope in different scenarios. And for example, when you're talking of super resolution. So in photonics, you don't just look at the basic microscope, you look at how you can improve the resolving power of a microscope. So typically a microscope has a resolution, a light microscope has a resolution of about 200 nanometer. But for a super resolution, you could get even up to 20 nanometers. So that's basically on one hand what could be achieved using photonics technology. So you could build very powerful microscope, you could do a lot of stuff even with microscope. So on that side alone, there's a lot of opportunities. Maybe you could work in companies that produce microscope, you could work in companies that develop microscope, you could work in a research lab where you are the one in charge of all of their super resolution, expensive microscope. So the opportunities on that hand alone are limitless. Then maybe you talk about spectrometry, you talk about different types of spectrometer and how it is being applied. Yeah.
What challenges did you face during the course of your study or while studying?
Okay, so the number one thing is tied to the nature of the course. Like I already mentioned, it is a multidisciplinary course. So it doesn't matter where you're coming from, there will be some area that you are deficient in. You that you studied medicine or medical related course, you are most likely going to be deficient in physics, mathematics, and probably chemistry. You that you studied physics, you're most likely going to be deficient in engineering and biology. So that is the challenge. You have your area of strength. If you're coming from medical, so you have your biology and medical knowledge, but then you need to acquire new knowledge in physics and chemistry. But for everybody, the photonics part of the course is something that you have to also struggle with. Not because it is difficult, but because you don't have a background in it. Even when you studied physics, even when you studied engineering, photonics is a different field entirely on its own. So little by little, you begin to grow into it, you begin to understand, and then I think it gets better after that. After the first semester, I believe it gets better. One of the challenges also, if I may add, is that people faced in this during my time in the program for the coursework is biology. Because like I already mentioned, it's multidisciplinary. So some people have medical background. So the biology area aspect was very easy. But for the rest of the group, without any medical or biological background, the biological area becomes really, really tough. And you see a lot of persons ill prepared for biology. One, because it is highly voluminous. So there is a lot of materials to read. In fact, it is the course that you spend the most time on. You go to class almost every 2 days for the biology. So for example, in comparison to someone that studied maybe physics, maybe you write a little, you do some calculations. But in biology, you have to write a lot. And to write a lot, you need to read a lot. So it is one of the things that shocked people who do not have this medical or biology background. Also, another thing is in medical photonics in my school, you have to do a lot of coursework. And not just coursework, you have to do up to 17 courseworks, which includes programming. Programming is another place that gives people headache, because if you don't have a programming background and they throw you straight into Python programming or maths lab. For me, we started with maths lab. It becomes, what is this? But as long as you just put enough effort, I think you'll be able to get through it. So apart from the coursework, we also have lab work that you do. You have to do at least 10 lab works plus your coursework, and then you do your internship posting. You have to pick a topic, pick a lab where you do your internship training for 6 months. Then you are going to write a seminar report on that and submit it. Then after that, you can now decide on what to do for your thesis or where to do your thesis. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the detailed information. What advice will you give to people who has developed interest in this course and who wish to pursue this career?
Yeah, one is there's nothing to be scared of. Two is because of the relatively new nature. I wouldn't say it is new. With optics has been around for hundreds of years, even as long as human being has been on earth. Light. But this particular field of endeavor is relatively new. And because it is relatively new, there is not enough people in it. And you will also notice that photonics is not really studied at the bachelor's level. Most photonics courses you have are at the graduate or postgraduate level because it's like a subspecialty. So there is really nothing to be scared of, irrespective of what you think your background is. As long as you put in the effort, you see the game. And also, I want to say this: it's also, in comparison to other fields, easier to get a job in the photonics industry, and there are so many opportunities. There are so many universities that does this. Even in America, you could apply to some universities and you get tuition waiver just because you're trying to study photonics, and especially for women and Black people.
Okay. Can you tell the viewers your school, because you didn't mention that in the introduction, like the school where you studied. Can you tell them the school? Yeah, the school
Okay,
you.
so I studied medical photonics at the Friedrich Schiller University in Jena, Germany. So the course basically is run between two institute or departments, so to speak. You are, on the one hand, it is under the University Clinicum. On the other hand, it is under the Abbey School of Photonics. So you see that it is the main normal photonics and the medical side joined together that manages the program.
Are there any other specific admission requirements to medical photonics at Friedrich Schiller University?
Generally, because the course is studied in English, so you need to show proof of English. Before, in our own time, you have to show proof of IELTS or TOEFL. But I don't know if that is still the case now, or maybe your bachelor's degree is being studied in English is sufficient. I cannot say, but there are really no specific requirements other than you have to be from, like I said before, the field of medicine, physics or chemistry or engineering, then you're more or less eligible. So because of these inherent difficulties that students face when they join this program, the program coordinators started what we call a pre-semester program where they teach you mathematics, teach you biology and chemistry, just to prepare you, to prime you for what to expect. So if you are applying to the Friedrich Schiller University Medical Photonics course, I would advise you to take advantage of these pre-semester courses. It will really help you to know what you're really getting into and give you room to even prepare more. And the course is only run in winter. You can only enter the course in winter. You can't enter it in summer. So you have to make your applications towards the winter semester. But I would also love to add, if you're coming from Nigeria or any country, maybe Iran, where the visa process takes time, then you really need to apply early and tell the course coordinator that you need your admission letter on time, because typically the admission letter for medical photonics from Friedrich Schiller University comes around July, sometimes in August, and school will resume in October. So before your visa interview and everything, you may not be able to be able to make up. So you have to tell them in advance. You have to write them a letter that if they can help you, so you could, if you get the admission, give you the admission letter on time.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you.